My name's Larry Neal. I joined the Navy in 1963. I went to Corps School, and after Corps School, I signed up for any ship, any port. And I ended up in the Marine Corps, Marine Force Corpsman for 37 months. In 1982, I went back in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. I was a chaplain for 16 years. Served in the National Guard, the Army Reserve. Was stationed in Kaiserslautern, Germany for about a year, in Fort Dix, New Jersey. So I've been a lot of places in different uniforms. I was watching television and saw former President Trump get shot, and it brought back the day I was in Camp Lejeune at Field Medical School when we heard that President Kennedy got shot. And it's, you have to be in the military, or have been in the military, to see what happens in situations like that. Number one is, the military is much more, let me see what word I want. Military is much more of a brotherhood, but the military has different standards, and if somebody tells you to do something, you usually do it. And in the situation with President Kennedy, when the officers said to do something, we did it. And the situation with Kennedy was much more dramatic than it was with Trump. But I was interested to see what military people would do, or quasi-military people would do. And I've been a lot of places, done a lot of things. Made six deployments when I was with the Marine Corps in 3.5 years, or 3 years. Spent considerable time in Germany, deployed to Germany 3 times. Took my family over the holidays 1 year, and I allowed my sons to ski in Austria. A friend of one of my sons said, he showed him his Rolex watch that he got for Christmas, and he said, "What did you do for Christmas?" And Jason said, "I went to Austria to ski." I tell people when I was in field medical school, we had 40 people in 1963. 1966, they had 400, most of whom were going to Vietnam. And people ask me, were you ever in Vietnam? And I tell them, no, I was in the 2nd Marine Division, which was the East Coast, it was the Mediterranean. So we were protecting Europe, I guess. I was shipped over to Germany to basically backfill for people who were in the Baltics. And I had 3 boys in college. Actually, I had 2 boys in college and 1 in the Marine Corps. My wife was home with the dogs. So we spent about a month in Germany over Christmas. I was thinking the other day of the people I knew in the Navy, and I can only 2 names come to mind, and that's because Jimmy Soliday was raised in Punxsutawney, and he and I served together. when I got out, I gave them all my Marine uniforms. Jimmy retired as a commander from the Navy. He's buried in Punxsutawney. And the only other one is C.W. Davis. And why I remember Carl, I do not know. I can't tell you why I remember him, except he was that kind of person. You just, when he came in, the room filled up. And the other ones, if I got out my paperwork, the names would come back and I remember them. But in the 60s, we lived in barracks. In the 80s, we lived in rooms. And I think that's been a lot, probably been to the detriment of the military. That we went to nice quarters, but they were rooms, had a living space, little kitchen area, and 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. And I think it took the brotherhood, if you will, out of it. I was reading the retired Navy chaplain, Navy chaplain, he was the captain, head of the Western Pacific Fleet chaplains. And he said that to a crowd of people. He said, it's the best retirement in the world. Plus, you get retirement, you get insurance, life insurance, health insurance. You can get a really good life insurance policy now, but sometimes it's a hard life. I can tell you, I said we made 6 deployments when I was in the 1st Battalion, 8th Marines. And one sergeant was deployed every time one of his children was born, and the 3rd child was soon to be born, and we were on our way to Europe, and the colonel said, "You aren't going. You're going to stay home with your wife because you missed the first 2." And to have a newborn and not be able to see it for 6 months is hard. And it is what it is, but sometimes I know a lot of guys who deployed to Korea unaccompanied tours, and those are hard. I've heard he basically lost his family when he was in Korea because they just got tired of him never being home. And might be the best retirement, but it could be the hardest job you've ever had in your life. But I tell people, in my experience in my life, I try to get something done before I end the day. And I think that's what the military has you do, because you have to. You just can't say it's 4:30, time to quit now. I think the other thing that's really important is that it brings a real brotherhood. I worked for the DAV for 10, 12 years, and almost all those guys who drive are from the military, and they're doing it just because it reminds them of all the times they had, and basically with a bunch of brothers. And some people treat they treat former military people better than they do their own brothers, because it's movie The Band of Brothers, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I only ever been shot at once in my life, and that was in the Dominican Republic, 1965. We had a corpsman killed for just basically a police action, and being a corpsman in the Marine Corps is interesting, because you wear the uniform, but you're in their chain of command, but there's some things you don't have to do that because you're corpsman. And I think the situation in all the military is, you know, if you know people who were corpsmen, you'll recognize what they did. If I was in 11 Bravo, that's infantry, I would recognize the other 11 Bravos. And I think it's just like an extended family a lot of times. It's really, sometimes it's a joy, and sometimes it's a terror.